What's up, guys? Welcome back. I was born in the 90s. 90s seemed to be a great time. Like, it was a good time. Everyone's talking to each other. Everyone's hanging out. There was no phones. There was no tech. You had N64, but it got boring. You can only play so much Mario Kart. And you're like, all right, boys, let's go out. Let's climb some trees. Let's jump the BMX bikes. Let's hit on girls. Let's get out there. Let's live our life. So it was fun. There was more of this human interaction. And, possibly even more so before that. I've read books about these guys in the 70s, 80s coming up, just it was a different world. It was a different world. Everyone that you were to meet was a potential opportunity to give you a certain connection, to network with, to introduce you to a different aspect of life that maybe you didn't know of. Maybe that would make your life incredibly better from what you had at that time. And I think nowadays, we see this grouping of individuals. I think it's a psyop. I think it's psychological manipulation. I think it's psychological warfare. This putting people into boxes, labeling them, slapping on this labeled and dividing the people. And you see many different models of this. The red pill, the blue pill, the left versus the right. We got a lot of pills now. Black pill, purple pill, orange pill, all the pills. The left versus the right. All women are hypergamous. There's a ton of them. There's a ton of them, man. We call people NPCs. That's a big one going around these days. You're an NPC. You're a normie. And so we write off individuals. We group these people into a category and we disregard them. And this happens when we are online. This happens because we spend a lot of time less socializing, getting to know other people, having these opportunities in our life. What we do is we spend time online. And when a young mind is on the internet from an early age, the internet, the web, it captures your attention and it tells you how to think, what to think about, what to focus on. And it starts giving you these frameworks, these mental models about what other people are and how they act, if you should stay away from them and if you should not. And it was a very common belief back in the day that other people had what you wanted. They had your money. If you're a salesman, other people have your money. Other people have something to teach you. Everyone has a unique experience. And what I believe is the point here is what we seek all is freedom. We want to be more free. How do we be free in an unfree world? How do we be free and escape these cages that we feel our lives are in, our routines, our habits, maybe the monotony of the work life, careers that are going nowhere, dead-end jobs. So how do we escape this? And I believe that it starts by how you view the world. You do not want to look at other people as NPCs, as non-player characters, as, you're the center and everyone else has nothing to give you. They're just programmed and they're normies. You don't want to look at left and right. That's just there to divide you. Anyone that's ever tried to build some sort of cult following, they make it seem like it's an us versus them. It's us versus them dynamic because that lets you rally behind something. It lets you stand for something. If I was to tell you what it is for the Thumos men's group, what do we stand behind? Become strong, become better, help each other out because the world wants to separate us, right? And I believe that's powerful. I believe it's true. But you got to be careful because everyone's trying to divide you, make another person, another individual or group look bad, look like they're losing their shit and they're crazy. So keep this in mind, but we want to be free in an unfree world. And so I think that you have to start by stop looking at people in this way. I've spent a lot of time online, and let me tell you, you hear a lot of platitudes. You hear a lot of guys, especially when it comes to women. They say the same thing. Okay, there's a certain time where you have to let what you've learned go in one ear and come out the other, because your life is different. Everyone's life is different. You are not a special snowflake, but you are not the same as everyone else. You will have many different experiences compared to your fellow man. Every experience is going to be different. Your upbringing, the shows you watch, the way your parents were, if you went to church, the books you read, all of this input has created this mindset in you and the way you lived your life. And so when you come in contact with another individual, they have their story and that background that makes them who they are. Yes, we get influenced by a lot of the media and a lot of stuff, people on Instagram playing the same games, listening to the same music, but at the core, we are all different. So you have to begin to look at the world through fresh eyes. Again, I see a lot of guys online say the same things. Anytime something happens, it's like the same exact thing. Yes, women want winners. Yes, there's these certain basic red pill things maybe you've heard, online that have truth to them. But do not let that blind you from the new girl you're about to go see today or talk to or meet. Do not let anyone else tell you, like, this is the way, this is how it should be. You have your own life. You need to come up with your own philosophy. You need to think for yourself. This is very important. And I think a lot of guys these days, they're outsourcing their thinking to internet people, to guys online. Think for yourself. Develop a philosophy. Take what is useful, what inspires you. Maybe gives you, oh yeah, man, I could see, I'm going to test this thing out. Test more. Put things to the test. Put things under fire and see if they melt out or if they become stronger. If you can make your life better with these things that everyone's saying. But I think too many guys, they get like rigid. You get rigid. You get like this weird shell over you. It makes you awkward. So you got to test. So you want to look at every individual with fresh eyes. Like a newborn. You come out in the world. Oh, yeah, so good to be alive. Wow, look at this life. Why can't you have that every day? Why can't you have this every other day? What are you, jaded? What are you, down in the dirts? You're down in the dumps? Like, look at the world with fresh eyes. There's a lot of great stuff happening, man. I think that you want to get rid of this lens. You have to see things as they are, not grouping everything together. Because this is how you become more free. Because if you think about it like this, if you put people into groups, then you must also have to be in a group. Because you're going to feel like an outsider. And so you kind of play into this world's manipulation of trying to put you in a box. Us versus them. If you're not in one group, if you can go and criticize all these other groups, you are also having to belong to something. Okay, you're going to have to belong to something to feel united, to feel like you're rallied behind some purpose. And so that's not freedom. That's not freedom. Again, in the influence that comes about that when you let yourself slip into these herds. So freedom is inextricably tied to how you choose to live your life, not going about the stereotypical way of what is expected by society, religion, or others. Think about that. How do you be free in an unfree world when you base everything that you do off of what society has told you, what religion has told you? I see this more than ever these days. I've made a video in the past, emotional men are weak, because I believe that when a man gets emotional, when a man acts out of anger, out of even happiness is an emotion. When a man acts out of rage or greed or anger, these emotions that you feel, you're being carried by the emotion. And so that can make you weak because, your emotions, you can't let them control you. It's like, okay, you get on a little horse and carriage, the horse is just like, take you wherever you got to go. So you got to have the reins of the emotions. But another thing is happening these days is because there's so many people talking. And so instead of being guided and weakened by your emotions, you're weakened by your intelligence. You're trying to intellectualize everything. I can't do this because someone else said that I shouldn't do it. I can't do this because someone else said that it's going to, tear me down and be bad for me. It's never like in the middle. It's never like you coming up. It's either you're led by your emotions or you're always trying to intellectualize. Oh, if I do this, then this someone said. So there's this lethargy that takes over. There's this paralysis that takes over. There's this fear. That's what it is. It's fear that enters the body. It keeps you from really being the man, being that man that goes out into the world because you're always using the intellect. And so that's a trap I think that you should be aware of, So the goal here is freedom. It's freedom. I want you to be free. I want you not to live a life that you hate, that is mundane, that makes you miserable. I want you to be free. So everything I talk about, that's where the compass is pointing towards more freedom. So I want to present you with ideas where you can think about, how do I become more free in an unfree world? Because this is your life. And why wouldn't you want to be free? Why would you want to be in bondage? So you have to question the things I even tell you. It's too easy for guys to get on here. You turn the camera and you speak with authority. There's authority bias. Someone speaks to you, and when people put on a lab coat, they don't even got to be doctors, but just because you see them in the lab coat. I could be in a lab coat right now just saying, hey man, this creatine right here, studies show that this will give you bigger balls. And you'd be like, all right, yeah. Like authority. So people are coming on, they're speaking like they know everything. Where's the humbleness to say, hey, I don't know everything. Like, your life is different. Go out there and figure that shit out and come back and share what you learned. But everyone's saying a lot of the same stuff. And so you start to get confused, man, because it's your life and their advice doesn't always apply. It's not applicable to your life. So think about it like this. Every person is a different origin of consciousness. Every person you meet. I mean, we are matter, dude. We matter. I matter. And matter formed itself. Heard this great quote. Matter formed itself. It used man. Man is matter's best bet so far for conscious to be, and that's where conscious existence came out. To matter found a way to evolve through, through this to a point where it's now conscious of itself. Mind-blowing stuff. So every person is a different origin of consciousness, a unique experience. Understand that people are not like you. They will not behave in ways that you do. This is something I've learned. I've run the men's group. We've got a lot of unique people. It's been amazing. It's been humbling. It's been very interesting to get a new idea, to get a different take on something and realize that, man, maybe I didn't know. Maybe I was a bit wrong. And what's the point of always arguing? Why not just seek first to understand them and then try to be understood myself? It's been a blessing. It's been a total paradigm shift for me, interacting with all these different men, seeing that their life is different. Some guys like rap music. I don't like rap, dude. I like death metal. A lot of my friends growing up hated metal. They hated death metal. Some guys like EDM. I was never in EDM. I kind of like EDM now. I kind of like that dance, electronic. We're so different. But I don't need to hate. I don't need to just because they don't like what I like doesn't mean that I need to convince them to like metal. You get what I'm saying? And that it applies to a broad spectrum of things. Everyone has this unique take, this their own thoughts, their opinions, and you could try to help someone. Some people just don't want to be helped. It says in the Bible, don't cast your pearls amongst swine. Some people are not ready. The soil is not fertile. The soil is dry. It's going through some hard times, man. Some people are not ready. And some people will want to remain in ignorance, because when they remain in ignorance, it keeps them safe, because they don't really have to change anything that's going on in their life. It keeps you safe. I think that's when people, a little side note, I think when people say, I'm afraid of success, when you get success, you have to change. It forces you to take on more responsibility. I've used this analogy before, but if you get a girl, whatever, dating app, or you get a girl's number, and you actually get her to come over, well, that means you just had a little bit of success. What do you have to do? Well, now you got to clean up your damn house. Now you got to scrub the toilet. You got to get the mold off the shower. You got to do the dishes. You can't just say, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. Oh, I know I should clean my room like Jordan Peterson said, and make my bed. No, you actually need to do that if the girl's coming over. So it forces you into action. But that means that you got to change. It takes energy to change. We're humans. We don't want to use a bunch of energy. We want to conserve what we have, right? So that's what I think when people are scared of success. No, you're just being lazy. You don't really want to change the environment, because you just get by. You get by with doing what you do. You get by in your routine, smoking weed, playing video games, jumbling up your mind with all this hula baloo, it's hard to think these days. You're kind of jumping from thing to thing to thing. You can't really think in a linear thing, a linear path, and sort of work things out. So, yeah, you have to change your environment. Understanding that people are not going to behave like you want them to will take a lot of pressure off of you trying to manage everyone else. You can manage yourself and create your own goals for life. You know, think 18 months ahead. Think about what your strengths are. Think about what you're good at. How do you learn? So, you know, instead of trying to managing other people and getting angry and getting emotional, it's a spiral and that makes you less free. And so you want freedom, you accept other people how they are. It doesn't mean you have to interact with anyone. It doesn't mean that you got to go to a bunch of, parades and rally behind something. Yeah, feminism. Oh, let abortions be. You know, like you don't got to do that. Everyone wants to be a part of something. But it just makes you less free. It just takes away your own freedom. So, yeah, man. You just stop trying to control everyone. And sometimes you got to get rid of friends. Sometimes getting rid of old friends is like the best thing you can do for yourself, because then it's back to you. You're more free. Sometimes getting friends, you're in the prison, man. If you're at a time in your life where you're in the prison and you're friends with other prisoners, dude, some of the prisoners want to be in jail. You know why? Because the prison provides them with 3 meals a day. They got a little basketball court, and they got they don't gotta pay electricity. They got bedding. Everything's taken care of. It's easy, zero responsibility. So if you're in the trenches and you have friends that are in the trenches with you, but some of them they're fine being prisoners. And it's hard to be like that. Like, some people don't want to get out. And it's not that they don't want the best for you. It's not that you shouldn't like them. But some people are just like, they don't want to get out. And so sometimes it's better once you leave the prison, man. You're not coming back trying to, prison break, get them out of there. Like, you've tried, you've seen. They're like, it's like what that damn Morgan Freeman movie, or Breaks Out of Prison. Great movie, by the way. I can't think of it. Someone put the video down below. It's a great movie, but I think like some of them don't. They're like, yeah, I'm gonna die here. This is all I know. The guy gets out, he hangs himself. It's all they know. It's not easy to change. It's not the Green Mile. I know it's not the Green Mile. It's called something else. I forgot. I'm going to leave the video here with this. Something to think about. It's hard to know yourself. When you only know the version of yourself you think other people see. Now, I had this thought the other night. To know yourself, to know what makes you tick, to know those strengths, to know what you care about. If you spend your time worried about the image that you're presenting, what other people see, how do you really know what you see? Like, how do you know what is true? And when you know yourself, you become more free. So it's very difficult to be free when you're concerned with how these other people always see you. And so that's something I just wanted to share with you, something I've been thinking about myself. Because it's so easy these days to, how are people going to think about this? How are people going to react? Am I going to get the like? Am I going to be accepted? We all want to be accepted. We all want to, we don't like being outsiders. We all want to be involved. But make sure that you're getting to know the real you and not just this image, this thing that can be judged by others, which can lead you, I think, to a lot of just unhappiness and kind of seeking validation, consuming, always needing more. So that's really it, man. How to be free in this unfree world. A lot of these thoughts were actually brought about by this book I'm reading. It's called How I Found Freedom in an Unfree World. I'll probably do a little review over that, but that's what I'm reading now. Probably going to be the book of the month coming up. So yeah, guys, hope you enjoyed this video. Keep it high, Thumos, and I'll see you soon. Peace.